You're Richard Russell.
This is the greatest stuff ever.
And you're in my house.
This teacher would play them mind-opening songs.
That's
what a teacher should be doing. That's teaching. As an artist, you sort of got to be a business person as well, because you end up with your own business.
Yeah.
Whether you want one or not, you've got it. You're an artist. You don't have a boss. Like, it's your...
Listen to this man.
You go to people's studios and sometimes they're like museums. I'm not into anything being there that's not to be used, because otherwise it's staring at you. The gear will eye you up and make you feel guilty.
Hey everyone, it's Derek G here and welcome to Solid Air. Today on the episode, we have the man that heads up XL Recordings, Richard Russell. Now, this is a bit of a sister episode to the Jamie XX episode because Jamie XX is released under Young, which is the sub-label of XL. XL Recordings, in case you're living under a rock, is one of the most important record labels of all time. Out of London has released everything from Radiohead to Dizzy Rascal to Adele to the White Stripes, and is one of the old-timers. So to be able to have the man that heads up the label in my home and home office with me talking music, Grace Jones, Missy Elliott, everything in between, it was an honor, a little bit of a dream come true for me, to be honest, as well. Now, before we get started, I just want to introduce you to what this is. Solid Air is a private listening club that happens every single week on my Patreon. I have this beautiful community there that we share songs and talk about music together, and I put my community onto my curation every single week. And as part of this episode, you'll get the full playlist on the Patreon as well as bonus tracks that I didn't get time to play, Richard. You'll also get this experience ad-free as well as early. My patrons have already seen this episode a while back. You get it early as well. And as well as that, you will also get a special show that I'm dropping at the time of this release, which is an XL recording special of my curation and selections of my favorite songs released by XL. But anyway, let's get on with the show. I hope you enjoy it. This is Solid Air with Richard Russell.
This is KTD from New York's Hudson Valley, and I'm listening to Solid Air.
Hello, everyone. We are back in my home office studio, and the last time we had a guest, we had Jamie XX on, and we have someone related to him, but I think more related to your life than just Jamie XX. If you have ears, if you listen to music, if you listen to good music, then you've listened to the work of this gentleman. He is the man that runs, he's the CEO, the man that runs XL Recordings. I'd like to welcome to the studio, Richard Russell. Hello, sir.
Hey.
I get the giggles when a guest such as yourself joins. It's an honor to meet you and have you in my home.
It's great to be here.
You've been in Australia for a little bit. This is your little music respite amongst the travel.
Yeah, a couple of days so far. First time here.
First time here?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I never made it before.
How's that possible?
I don't know, I take traveling kind of, I don't take it lightly. And this is the big one. This is the big, I knew I'd come at some point. But I had like family motivation to be here. Professional motivation's never been quite enough.
It's a long way.
Yeah, it's never been quite enough. It's been close, and I think I probably missed out on some things that would have been exciting, but it's never been quite enough. And then no, I was pleased. There was like reason, the sort of family motivation. I was like, oh yeah, that's going to get me there. That's great.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be here. And I knew I was going to be here. And we're going to have summer solstice.
Yes.
Right.
Of course.
Which would have been winter solstice.
Yes.
So
you're going to have your first summer, or I don't know about first, but you're at a summer Christmas.
Yeah.
Which is bizarre.
Yeah. So that's exciting. So I get my second summer solstice in a year, which feels like a little magic trick.
It's you've really escaped all the cold and the grimness of the endless cold, which I lived over your way for a couple years. And
Where'd you live?
I lived in southeast East Dulwich. So it had the charm of Christmas, but then the winter was, for an Australian, very tough, very tough.
Yeah, I mean, seasons are great. it's important to have the seasons.
It's true.
But the long British winter can get a little wearing.
It's a lot, which makes you guys very tough. But welcome.
Very grumpy.
No comment. But welcome to Solid Air. It is a pleasure to have you in my house. I've read your book. I have your book. You are a formidable force and have been for a long time in the recording industry. And I think it's an honor to learn from you. This could easily be a podcast where I try to extract as much wisdom as possible, but I think it's more natural for us to just make it all about the music.
Let's play some tunes.
So you brought some tunes. You have a record coming out, which we will get to. Have you heard this song before?
Never.
Dunkel Ziffer is the name, and it is sung by Damo Suzuki from Cannes.
Wow.
But I've got we've got records to bring you.
We definitely got to talk about Cannes.
Why don't we start there?
Let's do it.
I was going to play something else from me, but we launched into it, and the reason I'm playing this, of course, is because I was privy to some of the music you prepared, so I was like, okay, well, how do I start this show? Let's start with Dunkel Ziffer, with old Damo, and let's go straight into Cannes. So I asked you, as part of this radio show, whatever this is, private listening club, is that I have this section called the Permanent Collection. And so that section is about songs that you add to the collection as you would art and is there forever. It's not moving, you love it. We're not talking about what are the top 100 best songs of all time. It is lionized, it is there. And you love Cannes and you love this song. Tell me everything.
Cannes never far from my thinking, but it's been particularly on my mind the last couple of weeks. Couple of reasons. One is that I did a session just before I came out here with a musician called Morgan Simpson. Mm-hmm. Morgan was the drummer in Black Midi.
Okay, amazing.
Who I think split up.
Yeah.
A year or so ago.
Yeah. Rest in peace.
And Morgan came in to play drums on a song with Sampha and Florence and Jah Wobble. Now this song hasn't made it onto my record because we're still making it.
Wow.
My record's finished. But this is like I've just kept going, and this is a song that's never got finished.
Yeah.
And Morgan came in. Morgan's an incredible drummer. He came in to play drums on it. Mm. And Morgan was educated at the Brit School.
Yes.
You know about
Formidable.
The Brit School.
Oh, yeah.
So it's funny. I don't know much about the Brit School, but
the alumni.
The alumni. I mean, how good is this place? I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like clearly, this is like a performing arts school that really, really works.
Yeah.
And the people.
Twigs is from there, right? Is Adele from there?
Adele is. I think Ken Crawl is. I'm not sure.
Geordie Greep is from there. Like, obviously, Black Midi.
It's a kind of endless. Yeah, Black Midi, I think, formed there.
Yeah.
And Morgan was talking about one particularly great teacher. I wish I could name him. I can't remember what his name was. And I love hearing about a great teacher.
Yes.
You know, that's such a like.
I'm closing my window. You're in my office. We have the window open. We can hear the birds. So,
I was just thinking those birds. I couldn't work out if those bird sounds were something you were.
Welcome to Australia.
It's really
cool, but it's probably a bit distracting. And now we've got wind going.
What bird do you think that was?
I don't know.
Wow,
I don't know.
It was
you can see it over there, but anyway, it's atmospheric. It
was great. He was talking about this one particularly great teacher, and he said this teacher would just play them mind-opening songs.
Oh,
and I was like, God, that's cool.
Mind-opening
That's
songs.
what a teacher should be doing. That's teaching. That's really teaching. Because obviously you hear other things about, in what we all do, we start off as fans. Mm-hmm. If you are classically trained, you kind of start off as a student,
Yeah.
right? So that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
And obviously those skills, I'm in awe of people who have those trained skills, but the people who have them will often say it's also restrictive.
Yeah.
It can restrict you because you've been taught all these rules.
Indeed.
Right. So, but clearly what they had going on at the Brit School was very different to this, and mind expanding tunes. And I was like, well, so tell me what was one of the tunes? And he says, Hallelujah by Can. I was like, oh, wow. I was like, oh, this guy's playing you Can. Come on. Because it took me a while to get to Can, to find out what they were about. Because Can, and a lot of the German rock music of that period can reprogram your thinking. And especially if you grew up listening to hip hop, because the drums are in there, the funk's in there. So it's very relatable.
Yes.
It's not like trying to get into something. It's not difficult to get into it.
No.
But it takes you on this huge journey. And for everything is recorded. We've been doing these solstice equinox sessions where
everything is recorded, which is your, what would you call that? It's
a collaborative artist project.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
And over the last year, we've done these solstice equinox sessions where on each solstice and each equinox, we've just got a bunch of us in the room and we've improvised. And Can is unquestionably an influence on that. And we're going to take this out and we're going to do this with an audience over the next year.
Stunning.
And Can is, Can were masters of doing that. One of the musicians in our project is Jah Wobble, who is a master bass player.
I got a song for you regarding that.
Can't wait to hear that. And he played with the Can guys. He was in like another iteration. It wasn't Can, but it was Jackie and Hawke, like the Jackie. And apologies to any German viewers for my pronunciation of any of this, but Jackie Leibseid, who was and really one of the absolute greatest drummers of all time. I'd never known how to pronounce his name. Sorry. Anyway, so Can. So Morgan was mentioning Can. Can have been in our thinking because we're doing these improvisational things. And the song I've chosen, the Can heads might say, oh, come on, it's a bit obvious.
No, we don't like that kind of attitude around here.
Yeah, I don't think it's... And also, this song this was my start point. This was the entry point to Can for me. And the reason it was the entry point was because Kiss FM, the radio station in London, when it was still a pirate, used to use it as a jingle. No. And I didn't know what it was. No. I just knew these great drums and the bass line. I didn't know what it was, but it was in my DNA from hearing it on Kiss FM. And then years later, when I started hearing Can, and I got this album, Ibamiasi, that this song is on, I was like, oh, that's what that jingle was.
Yes. Come on. This has been sampled so much as well.
Yeah, Q-Tip sampled Can, Kanye sampled Can. I mean, loads of people. This just gets better and better. Fresher and fresher.
And it's messy in a good way. There's something about it that's just...
They're working stuff out, there's no boundaries. But it's pinned down by this rhythm section, which is just incredible. Also, he's singing in like a made-up language. So
is it?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So there's recognizable words in there, but it's like that's one of the reasons it crosses all boundaries.
Yes,
I think, and I'm sure that wasn't contrived to be like that, but it ends up being.
Well, he's like German Japanese, right?
Yeah.
Demo.
Yeah.
Which has its own like for the time rep. As a Chinese Australian that like knows most of the prominent like crossover Asian musicians in the West. There's not that many. So him doing this in the late 60s, early 70s. It's fucking cool. So what we're going to do on this show, there are so many records in the catalog of XL. It's like impossible. So what we're going to do, I'm going to play you another song. We're going to get into some Everything is Recorded and just kind of move around a little bit. Phenomenal way to start the show. Phenomenal. But we have a frequent collaborator of yours, Jah Wobble. So let's go that way and you can tell us some stories and move into Everything is Recorded.
What album is this on?
I'll have to pull it up on screen. But this is Jah Wobble with The Edge from obviously U2.
Huh.
It's called Hold On To Your Dreams. Let's pull up what year it is. (1983).
And see, like, a lot of this album's with Hawke from Can.
Hawke, amazing.
I've never heard this.
Groove a little number.
This is Marielle in Los Angeles, California, listening to Solid Air.
You kind of know it's The Edge, right?
Yeah, right.
It's kind of impressive though, that, isn't it? It's like a voice. It's
A lot of people, there are a lot of critics of The Edge, but he does this particular thing so well.
also interesting that The Edge in 1983 was working with Jah Wobble and Hawke from Can.
Right? You wouldn't know that, right?
I didn't know that's what he was doing.
I know. He's a mysterious man.
I suppose those things can probably get a bit overshadowed.
It's true.
If you're in like the most ginormous stadium rock band in the world.
The
Oh,
biggest
remind you,
venue.
were U2 that in 1983? No, they weren't. That was before they'd really.
I guess
This
they
is when
were
they were on their way to
yeah,
that.
Yeah. So they were still doing the weird stuff. There's too much music out there, Richard. You're enjoying it. I'm glad.
I'd always wanted to work with Jah Wobble,
Tell me.
and it had never. I'd just never known like the way in or who to ask, and it. The sort of door opened, and he came in. I played him stuff I've been working on for this third Everything Is Recorded record, where we had like the bass we had was fine,
Yeah.
but it wasn't. I didn't feel like it was everything it could have been.
Yeah.
And I recorded him just in the room, the two of us. And he was so great, so incredibly interesting to talk to, and someone who's had a huge amount of change in his lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Comes from a pretty tough, troubled background, and has had this real, like, sort of spiritual journey and awakening, and getting clean. I think was a big part of that journey for him. I read his autobiography while I was working with him, and it's like some of it's like, whoa,
Really?
Yeah.
Heavy shit.
yeah, and it's an incredible story, but it's heavy. And I said to him, like, I didn't like totally recognize you from some of that book, and he said, you found me at a good time.
Oh, really? That's a big... Saying that means something. There's a lot of significance behind those words.
And then, when he overdubbed bass onto one of the songs with Sampha, Losing It,
Yeah.
and then when I played that to Sampha, he said, this is the sound you've been looking for.
He said that to Sampha.
No, Sampha said that to me about the bass that Jah Wobble played. He was like, this is the sound you've been looking for.
Yeah, wow. And what did you say in response to that?
Well, it just got me thinking about like. It's hard to. Bass for me has always been made electronically. We used to use the sine wave from the Hawke sampler on the rave records, and it was very effective. It was pure sub bass, and you play it with a keyboard, and you have to play it quite simply, and it was very effective. It give you like a thick carpet of bass, which for like club records was awesome and would take up a lot of space. And then you can make records without too much else. You know, breakbeat and that sub bass. And the early rave stuff, that's what it was all about, and some synth stuff, but that's really what it was about, some samples. And I think it's been a long journey to working with like a live bass player where I feel like I can get the same type of toughness and energy and depth from a human as from the machine. And to get that sound has been incredibly like gratifying and exciting. And I'm very grateful to him for bringing that. But you know, this is like a great collaborative lifelong music maker. Where if he feels it, he's doing it. He's there, he's in.
And he knows what to do, or he feels it out.
And I've also sampled him talking on the record because he has tremendous wisdom and insight as well. So
can we play Losing You?
Yes, please.
Wonderful. So I wouldn't say still, but I was a bass player. That's where I'm like,
all right.
If you want to look at the origins of my music taste, it's bass. So I think that I always have a soft spot for.
So who are your bass OGs growing up? Who are you listening to?
So it was my bass teacher was instrumental to this. So at first it was my piano teacher who played double bass, brought the double bass to play along with me, which changed my life because you just had an accompaniment. I was just a kid playing piano. And then I wanted to learn bass, and I had an electric bass teacher, and then he introduced me to James Jamerson from Motown. And so my whole DNA is Motown, is James Jamerson, is Marvin Gaye. It's like the underpinnings of what means something to me. So I think that is part of my story that I can't untangle. Like that's how I listen.
Sure. Well, so much of the roots of like everything is there. Of like, I don't know, of like the Beatles, of Paul McCartney, of his bass playing, and then everything that came that was based on that.
My high school dissertation that I presented was about James Jamerson.
Beautiful.
So I was doing what I do now at age 17, maybe. I'm scared of losing you. Disconnected from myself. I'm disconnected from my health. I'm disconnected. I'm sorry, I haven't been there for you. Sorry, I haven't been there for you. And I'm living in the past and you're living in your heart. And I wonder where you are, I wonder where you're going. I didn't know how good I had it back then. I'm scared of losing. Didn't know how good I had it back then. But you never do. I'm scared of losing. Didn't know how good I had it back then. I'm scared of losing. Didn't know how good I had it back then. But you never do. Lost a friend, I've lost another.
This is like the closest I've ever got to a particular sound which is very influential on me, which is to do with a place called Compass Point. Do you know about that?
No.
I don't want to talk over sound.
Respect.
I'll come back.
There's a face in the tree and it's dying, and I wasn't scared no more. I'm scared of losing you. How you make me smile. I'm scared of losing you. How you make me smile. I'm scared of losing you. How you make me smile. I'm scared of losing you. How you make me smile. I'm scared of losing you. How good I had it back then. I'm scared of losing you. How good I had it back then. But you never
So Compass Point was a studio in Nassau in the Bahamas
Okay.
that Island Records operated in their kind of peak late 70s and 80s. And they had like a house band, which was Sly and Robbie as the rhythm section. A guy called Wally Badaru used to play the keys.
Yeah, Wally. I like some Wally stuff.
And this is where Grace Jones made her like 3 classic albums. And I mean, there's a whole bunch of great music made at this studio, but they had a sound of like funk, bass, obviously the Sly and Robbie reggae. I mean, I don't know if could we play like Grace Jones nightclubbing?
Of course.
That to me is like, that's one of those permanent, untouchable songs where it's extremely. Oh, that's Walking in the Rain, but we want. That's
the album, right?
Yeah,
I clicked play on the album.
We want the song Nightclubbing.
Here we go.
I mean, I'm sorry, I shouldn't. Walk in the Rain's great as well.
Great, sorry, moving on. No. Amazing.
Now, obviously, this has been sampled a bunch of times. Shine had a huge rap record using this, and a Barrington Levy sample. But this sound, the space, the simplicity, the soul, the dub.
Yes. It's like the fringes of dub, right? It's like you can tell, but it's not like, oh, this is dub.
And I think fringe is a good word because this was fringe at the time, right? And you hear this now, and this is so like, this to me is like the DNA of modern music. And Grace Jones was on everything before everyone. She's like, that's like it's like Bowie-esque ultimate sort of OG of music.
Yeah.
And still around and still great. Amazing artist. The absolute greatest.
Such good bass.
Bright white lovely. Oh, isn't it wild?
All those sound effects too.
Right?
You sure don't want a pastry. Eating on camera is probably something I'm used to, not you.
Well, I mean, I get weird like eating at parties, like, you know, like when they bring around little, you know, I'm always like a bit awkward about eating.
Jamie didn't want to either.
In front of people. I like that you're doing it though.
It's
good.
my house.
Yeah,
It's my house.
Exactly.
I've got a bunch of things out there.
Exactly.
I get it, but also
What do you call that pastry?
sfogliatelle. It's like ricotta and pastry. Goes great with coffee,
Yeah.
which you've had.
Yeah, with coffee. The coffee's great. But I think it's like pastry swag. It's like munching it on camera. It's like, you don't give a fuck. This is your show.
It's my home, Richard. Richard Russell's at my home. I should be eating pastry.
Good for you. Quite right.
Now, I know we should keep moving, and I want to, while you mention it, bring up something so good. Now, you might not know why I'm about to play this song. My Eyes, Travis Scott. I bring this up because it features Sampha, a person that you've collaborated with a lot. And I want to know, not why, as in I don't get it, obviously anyone would get it, but what is it about Sampha that seems to like cut through so many places and just fit so many places and bring so much to whatever he works on? Why are you drawn to Sampha?
I suppose the obvious reasons are to do with his voice and his writing and his playing, the sound of his voice. But there's also this like incredible humility to him, especially given his abilities, like such huge talent. Immense. He's a giant, I think.
I agree.
But I think humility is the right word for it. and it's
in
beautiful.
in collaboration.
I think in how he lives and thinking how he is, but I think he has a great sort of split where when he makes his own records, because he's a great producer as well. This I think is a bit overlooked. This is what happens, This is like what happens if you're Prince.
Yeah.
No one was talking about Prince as the greatest producer, but he was.
Yeah.
But obviously that gets overshadowed by his other immense talents.
Yeah.
Prince was a great producer. George Michael was a great producer. Sampha's a great producer.
Yeah, wow.
But of course, if you're at the front with the microphone, that's what people are gonna focus on.
Yes. Okay, wait.
It's mad how I got so deep. It's mad how I got so high. It's mad how you get me high.
Come on, that voice. That might be his only line in that song. He just pops in like an angel,
Yeah. Well, yeah, there is something. Angelic is actually a reasonable sort of word. So yeah, but when he makes his own work and his own productions, he's very, very detail orientated. Obviously makes work in his own time and in his own way with attention to everything. When he collaborates, I think as long as he's feeling the vibe, he's like, let's go, let's do it, and there you go. He's very freestyles. He'll freestyle stuff when we're working, and I'll edit it and then play it to him, and he's generally like, oh, okay, that's what I was doing, okay.
Yeah.
So I think he's able to like collaborate with a bunch of different people, and he's like, here you are. It's so generous
To
the people he works with.
Good words.
But then he also has his own, I'd call it his own practice, and his practice is to do with something much more, production-based, sound-based, sonic-based, detail-orientated. And like Morgan, who we started off talking about, Morgan Simpson, the drummer from Black Midi, he played on Sampha's album, and he was Sampha's suggestion for me to bring someone in. So he's I think this is like a misunderstood thing about all artists, right? To be great, you have to be good at a lot of things. You do have to be able to curate as an artist, right? You've got to be able to work out the people you need around you. It's so important. And you've got to make these great decisions about all these people. And I'd also kind of say, as an artist, you sort of got to be a business person as well, because you end up with your own business.
Yeah.
Whether you want one or not, you've got it. You're an artist. You don't have a boss. Like, it's your...
Listen to this man.
But I do think it's an important thing for people to understand. It's like, obviously you want to get great people around you who can help you with that stuff, but you end up with your own business. I mean, you're touring. That's a business. You're putting records out. That's a business.
There's a romanticism to artistry. I'm no Richard Russell, but I've worked in the industry and I've worked with artists, and there is this idea of I'm the artist. But the ones that I've witnessed that have made it or are making it, they have the switch to know this is a business, this is my business.
Well, hip hop was more realistic about it, right? Hip hop was like full of people saying, "I'm a businessman," right? And
loud and proud
and talking about that and being open about it. And I suppose in like other genres, people shied away from wanting to say that, but clearly there's always been there have always been musicians who've been more business-like and ones who've been, and obviously, it's not necessarily going to be the skills that you have as a musician, as an artist, but then, wow, you've got to find some people around you who are going to get it right, because this is like, this the world, you're in the world.
Yeah.
And it's really, there's no avoiding it. I mean, it's just like everyone's got to pay their rent. Everyone's there's no avoiding these things.
It is life. It's art, but it's life.
It is the things of life, of this material existence.
Speaking of materials,
nice.
We have this in front of us.
Nice.
Let's play something from this.
Sure.
Where? So this was your Everything Is Recorded record from 2022.
I mean, it's long. It's further back.
2020.
These things, the years fly by. It's definitely 4 years since I put a record out.
Look at all the collaborators on there: AK Paul, Sampha, Ghostface, Flahio.
Yeah.
What would you like to pull from this for us?
I think. God, I haven't. Do you know what? I don't listen to my own stuff.
We can needle drop it.
Out.
We can just drop it on.
So it's been a while, but Caviar's a good one. Caviar's a good one because you've got Infinite
side one,
and
last
Ghostface
track.
on
Thank
there.
you for being kind to me that you chose an easy to locate song. caviar. What is it about it? We're pouring water. Have the water.
Yeah, you get to hear Infinite Coals. This has also got a particularly great bass line.
Ooh.
This is a guy called Ben Reed, great guitarist and bassist from London. He's played with Frank Ocean and a bunch of people. Ghostface, obviously one of all of our heroes from Wu-Tang, and Infinite Coals. So it's a family affair.
This is Kevin Humdrum, and you're listening to Solid Air.
No time for insight, stopped at the red light, everyone jumped out the ride. Shook, but I'm hyped, never been the type, so bitch, get the fuck out the car.
I would regret it if I didn't having Richard Russell in my home and not ask you about. You've obviously put out some of the most iconic records in recorded music history. What are you listening for when you're, whether it's a track or an artist, what are you listening for to go like, yeah, this is, I want to sign this, I want to put this out?
So I was distracted by Ghostface. Listening to Ghostface. I was listening to you as well,
kidding.
but I was
Yeah,
getting
hilarious.
a split. No, I can answer the question though.
No, of course.
I can answer the question. Hold on, let's just hear a bit more Ghostface.
I grabbed the jacket, she grabbed the Fiji and threw up Domino's pizza on the TV. Said, fuck you, Ghostface, and cracked my CD. She took one leg out the car and took that pee-pee. Told my man behind the wheel, she's feeling freaky. His girl said, bitch, fuck you, Kiki.
You know, so Ghostface is Infinite's dad, and it's not the most straightforward relationship. But this is the only time I believe they've been on a song together. So it was nice that we were able to make that happen.
That's a cool story.
And have them. It's a theme, you know. It's a theme for me of music I make. Is like, although it's not always smooth going, but some kind of intergenerational thing of like. That's what the Gil Jamie XX thing was. That right? That was me realizing I was approximately, when I was working with Gil, he was 60, I was 40, Jamie was 20, approximately.
Beautiful.
And I realized I was like in a unique position to try and make some connections that wouldn't get made otherwise.
So Jamie said that because he didn't know as much about Gil at that age. Were you very cognizant of that? You're like, I'm going to bring in this kid that doesn't really even know what this guy's done.
I mean, Jamie knows though.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Jamie just knows. Jamie's like so much part of the thread of music. Of like a kind of indefinable thread. He is part of it.
Yeah, wow.
He's like a permanent part of it. So
Does that answer that question about like what you listen for? Nah, that was great.
yeah, the thread, that indefinable thread, like a thread of greatness, a thread of something transcendent. You know, and you know when people talk about eras in music,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, you know, maybe people will say, oh, you know, it's not that good now, and if you look at it at in this phase, it was good, and it's like, no, it's always the same.
I agree.
Right? And if you look on the charts or whatever from any era, most of it's the stuff in the charts. But then there's this other stuff which it's probably not in the charts, or maybe it is in the charts. Sometimes it is, right? Sometimes it's popular, sometimes it's not popular.
Yeah.
But there's a thread of beauty, of like something transcendent in music, which is always there. and it moves around and it's in different people's work. And
Wow.
and maybe we all, you know, we've probably all got our own version of what that is, because that's also quite personal.
Yes.
You know, the things, and it's like every music fan is right. You can't be wrong as a music fan.
I love that.
Right? You cannot possibly get it wrong. If you love it, that's your thing. You can't, if you feel it and you love it, you can't be wrong about that.
Yeah.
And you build up your, if you're a fan, you build up your tastes and your appreciation, and it's a gift. It's like, to actually enjoy music, I think, is a gift, right? That you're so lucky if you have it, because it's always.
But everyone has it, or is it different? You mean like there's levels of it though, because everyone enjoys music,
Yeah.
right? But obviously, you've been doing this for a while now, and you still love it, and you like myself. I don't think that there's a bad time in music, and I always am hungry to find whatever's next and new and exciting. And that seems to be like coursing through your veins.
It's you know, this is, I mean, it's dangerous to say this because it might sound like a cliche, but it's like, it's religious for me. It's like religion, you know, and it's because I see it as something, like I believe in it, and it's something that goes beyond the everyday.
Yeah.
And it goes beyond, it's magic. It goes beyond anything material, and the way that the music will. I was with a friend last night, and she lost her like life partner recently, and she was talking about music and how music is like gets her subconscious to the surface, and like this is someone who's in like a, you know, a beautiful person who's in quite a delicate place, and the part that music plays in it, you know, and how it can heal you. I mean, this is it's Laura Groves, right? Yeah, that's great timing that you played that, because I think she has like healing abilities in what she does.
So I brought Laura Groves because Richard has collaborated with her a lot on Everything Is Recorded. I wouldn't say we're friends, but we're mutuals. We have friends of friends, and we've spoken before. And no, what you said moved me. It's how I feel about music. It's magic, like you say. It's time travel. It can, you know, you hear a song in a place, and it will ever permanently be recorded inside of you to take you back to that place whenever you hear it.
Yeah, and the way that it's like affecting your emotions and making you feel a certain way. And I mean, to me, that goes way beyond like scientific knowledge, right, into a realm of something completely different to that.
So I have a little, what I call it, a surprise. We have a little question from our friend Laura for you.
Wow.
Don't read my DMs. No, I'm kidding. We're in Instagram right now. We're pulling up. I asked Laura to send us a message.
Amazing.
So we are a multimedia show. This.
You are.
You know, Richard. I try.
You are.
I try.
Yes.
Here we go.
Hello, it's Laura. Hello, Derek. Hello, Richard.
Hello.
I hope you're both good. Derek has very kindly asked if I could ask you a question, Richard, for the show. And I thought that could be cool. I've been racking my brains wondering what I could ask you. Trying not to overthink it as well, but I keep coming back to musical instruments and gear. I've been lucky enough to work in your studio quite a bit and play a lot of your instruments, and it's an amazing, very inspiring collection of stuff. And I just wanted to know, what was the first instrument or bit of gear that you bought for yourself, and what's the story behind that? Lots of love from London. Bye.
Beautiful.
Rewind. Great question. Laura's so great. Brilliantly multi-talented, multifaceted musician, Laura. Really like so good at so many different things.
Really?
And so much feel in what she does. I think I have to pay some respect to the Technics SL 1200 turntable
Ooh.
at this point, because
Not the gear I would have expected.
just because I think that's the first instrument. Well, I played guitar when I was a kid,
Yeah.
but I think in terms of really finding my thing where I was actually able to express myself, it was actually turntables. It was turntables and a mixer, and of the, you know, putting those thousands of hours in the bedroom, and, you know, learning to do like the, you know, the breakbeat merry-go-round where you're cutting up 2 copies of a record to create a seamless break, just using the turntable. It's a difficult thing to do. At first, doing that on like a mobile disco setup, which is very difficult to do, and then eventually getting to that point where you can afford Technics turntables, which are very expensive.
Still are.
Yeah, right. And it was an instrument, and, you know, and I was looking at all those all the pioneering New York hip hop DJs and seeing what they did, and I was so inspired by hip hop and wanting to DJ and DJing, and then, you know, getting booked for gigs and getting paid. I couldn't believe it. It was amazing. I couldn't believe that anyone would pay you to go and play records.
It's a nice turning point when that happens. When it's like I'm enjoying music and I'm playing it, and people want to pay me for that.
It was amazing, and yeah, that was a very sort of special thing, and it was when I was really young, and I think that was, and I kind of come back to that as well. I come back to turntables, CDJs as well. I like CDJs.
Yeah.
I like having the USB.
Yeah.
I like being able to do that. But I think there's still something about when I'm in the studio of like, yeah, just throwing a tune on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That it's where you'll completely change the mood and the direction of what's going on, and it's really powerful, and you know, and it's great. I love working with like virtuoso musicians. Is an amazing thing, but I've realized it's important to not lose your basics and not underestimate the importance of them as well. And so for me, I think turntables are that, you know, existing recorded music is that like that is always going to feed ongoing creation for me, because also, you know, nothing comes from nowhere. So I think it's good to like acknowledge that.
Yes.
And
wow.
Yeah. So
I
Laura,
like that.
That's a beautiful question.
It's a great question. We got a great response
And I'm
from
going
it
to say
too.
it's the turntable.
It's the turntable, guys. I would have thought like some drum machines, some this, some that, but I think it's the roots to who you are, right?
I mean, don't get me started. I mean, we can talk about drum machines. I love and
I like the purity of your answer though, because
yeah.
it's kind of the beginning and end of, not the end, but the beginning of you, and you have put out so much stuff. I pulled this up because
it's incredible.
You sampled this.
It's the live version, and that crowd response after that first line.
This is one of my
it's
favorite songs ever.
Live at the bitter end.
Expression of happiness. Boy, you couldn't be.
Speaking of recorded music, have you having sampled this at some point?
Yeah. I didn't sample the live version. I just sampled the studio version, but I love this version as well.
Laughing around you. These are the makings of you. It is true. The makings of you.
We need more live albums. Come on. I'm not saying that to you as Richard the XL man,
No.
it's
I mean,
live albums.
They are important. Oh no, I've got to just listen to this. This is just some of the best shit ever.
Right?
I told them so. You're second to none. The love of all mankind should reflect some sign of these words I've tried to recite. They are
Oh, you know what we should play?
Yeah.
See if you can find all these words a close but not quite reprise, which is like an alternative Sampha version of the song we did based on this song.
from a 2017 record. This is when I moved to London in 2017, and I think you were throwing your events as I was arriving.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, what's everything is recorded?
Did you come?
A lot of my friends went. I didn't at the time.
Oh, that was
but
awesome. Yeah, we're going to do that again. That was amazing.
All right, let's go this. And then we're going to play something from your new record.
In observing and being sensitive.
Featuring Sampha.
And that's Curtis Mayfield speaking.
You always have to walk
Is
that
it?
line of
That's- yeah.
activities.
Look at that sound.
My writings have
the
to
voice.
do with my observances, my feelings from the heart.
All these words I've tried to recite.
There we
They
go.
come close, but not quite. All these words I've tried to say. All these words I've tried to recite. They come close, but not quite. Not quite. All of these words I've tried to say, but I haven't come close. Not in no way. Not in no way. Yeah. Not in no way. Yeah. All these words I've tried to say. All these things I've tried to do. All these words I've tried to say.
A minute 21. Come on, why'd you do that to us?
That was. It's funny you mentioned those live, the Everything's Recorded shows, because that when we performed the song live,
Yeah.
it kind of went a bit like that. So then we did that version.
Oh, wow.
That sort of reflected
stunning.
the live thing as like a sort of reprise of it. With that, so that doesn't have the sample of Curtis singing. That's got
Yeah,
Sampha
yeah.
sort of recreating it.
Interpolating.
Beautiful, yeah.
We're playing this song, right? That's the song that we're playing next.
Sure.
That's coming out or might be out by the time this comes out.
Yeah, man.
Can we get a little introduction as we
Yeah.
press play?
Yeah. So while I was making this latest Everything Is Recorded album, which is called Temporary, and I'm working with this incredible bunch of collaborators, but I noticed that there wasn't anyone like who was kind of at the very start point of their journey on there. And it just hadn't happened like that. And I thought, that's okay. And then I didn't want to sort of look for it, because I think then you almost end up finding the wrong things if you're looking hard. For me, that's my experience.
Yeah, got it.
You just got to be open to it.
Yeah.
And I was like, if this album is all people who are already like some way along their journey, that's great. Right after I had this thought, I came across this band, Mary in the Junkyard, who are a 3-piece band from London, who all coming out of Guildhall, and I saw a clip of them, like a performance clip. I was like, wow, it was incredible, and I ended up producing their debut EP. I produced them. It's called This Old House, and Clary came and guested on this song for my record called Swamp Dream No. 3.
Off Temporary. There is this theme of bass, the bass having character, and a nice fuzzy bass in there.
You are from an Northland, crafted out of wet sand. What is it all about? Staring down at your hands. In your own head, in your own head.
Is that a cello?
It's it's cello, which Clary plays. She's playing.
Oh, is she?
So she's doing lots of like clever things on this record, and I'm doing lots of stupid things.
What are you doing?
Well, I'm bashing away on an MPC. It's like a 4/4 rhythm. Playing that percussive little riff. Playing like a one-note bass line, but this is all Clara's strings.
Wow, the layers on that.
All three members of this band incredibly talented and musical.
My own flesh. I never stop wondering, never stop turning inside out. I never stop spinning, turning inside out.
Fantastic, so many layers. That sub bass, whatever that is, knocking out in the background.
This is just having like, I have MPCs full of sounds. So, and it's all up. In my studio, everything's up. This is not, you go to people's studios and sometimes they're like museums. And this is not, I'm not into anything being there that's not to be used.
Yeah.
Everything's got to be usable.
Use your gear.
Up. Because otherwise it's staring at you. The gear will eye you up and make you feel guilty.
Ooh.
You know? So everything's up. So I've got MPCs full of sounds I can bash away on. Anyone can bash away on.
Yeah.
You know?
I love that.
And then you can get that combination of immediacy and sounds that just excite you.
Yeah.
With live playing as well.
It's an interaction. It's not something to be daunted by.
And this was made in one day.
Really?
Start to finish.
Wow. So I realize we're getting close to the end of the show. We could do this for so long, so I'm going to give you options. We've got records, we've got Dizzy Rascal, we've got Radiohead, we've got Funboy 3, I got my Radiohead CDs here as well.
I can't choose between Dizzy Rascal, Radiohead, and Funboy 3.
You're Richard Russell.
This is the greatest stuff ever.
And you're in my house.
All of those things.
And I don't know what to ask you. I don't know what to ask you.
That's three of my. That's three of my
like
all-time things. But yeah.
Where do I go? Like where can we go with that? Where would you like to go? Do you want to go Radiohead or Dizzy?
I can't choose that. You put something on you want to listen to. I've enjoyed
Put
every
something
tune.
on that I want to listen to.
I've enjoyed every tune.
Goodness me. Okay. I did this with Jamie, and again, it's seemingly a game show, but it's not. So I'll load them both up, and you can decide. I'd
like to hear something I haven't heard.
Well, yeah, I've got two that you might not have heard.
Great.
Okay. On the left is, and you might know this song, but maybe you don't, is a now deceased Australian artist who was part of the crew of the birthday party of the Nick Cave. I believe died from heroin addiction. A brilliant record from maybe the early 2000s, maybe, that has got a good groove to it. On the right,
let's do that. I want to hear that.
All right.
What's the artist called?
Roland S. Howard.
Okay.
This is Pop Crimes. Speaking of bass lines.
Can I see the artwork somewhere?
– 2009.
Oh yes, that's a very familiar cover.
audience notice how Richard evaded the question of Dizzy and Radiohead?
I mean, these are all amazing things. Oh, here we go. Here it is.
Did you murder history? Your twin pals, genocide and slaughter, were born on Calvary. When all the good got good and gone, and all the bad broke free.
This is like a seven minute song or something. Just, you know, it
I love
travels.
So
It travels.
Do you like to? Do you see part of your sort of mission as just introducing people to songs they wouldn't hear otherwise?
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess like, say for example, in the mainstream space, there's lots to be talked about with Charlie XCX, right? I don't talk about it because there's enough analysis and talk about it, and I can appreciate, and I've been a fan of Charlie's for a long time, but like I get excited to show people things from different parts of the world. What I tend to do well that people like is like take them to a completely different country and go like, if you like Burial and if you like that, let's go to Singapore and try that.
And you played something I really loved.
Really?
When Jamie came on, and hold on.
Oh, the Korean guy?
Yeah. What was it called?
Yeah. Mount XLR.
Yes, that's it. That was great. I went and got it and threw it in my record box. Yeah, it's in there. It was great.
He will be. That'll be a huge compliment to him. This one.
Yeah, let's hear that. It sounds a little bit, it's not, but it sounds a little bit like a sped up Past That Dutch by Missy Elliott.
Yeah, so true.
That's
a
great tune. Can we listen to that next?
Of course.
Let's get some Missy in.
All right, here's a challenge for me. I pulled up Past That Dutch on Spotify. We're playing Mount XLR. Let's see if I can do a DJ transition.
Yeah, the tempo doesn't sound that far off to me.
All right, ready? Let's try it. Ready?
That was your input.
It was meant to start on a beat.
It was worth a try.
It was worth a try. I've got no waveform on here.
Run for cover, motherfucker.
Oh, not far off.
Wow.
Come on.
Misdemeanor on the floor, pretty boy, here I come. Pumps in the bump, make you wanna hurt something. I can take your man, I don't have to sex some. Hang him out the window, call me Michael Jackson. I'm a pain in your rectum. I am that bitch y'all slept on. Heavy hitter rhymes, spitter, call me rerun. Hey, I'm what's happening. Hypnotic in my drink, that's right. Shake your ass till it's stink.
I think we're gonna end it here.
I mean, this is a hard record to top.
I'm like, where do I go? I would go back to like left field stuff.
The artwork for the mount is the artist's name Mount XLR.
Yeah.
The artwork's great, right?
It's very XL.
Is it like Is it like pharmaceuticals?
Perhaps. Yeah, it's got that kind of vibe, doesn't it?
This beat here will make your home pump jump. If you's a fat one, put your clothes back on before you start putting potholes in my lawn. Oh my gosh, I'm under attack like my name was Saddam. I am the bomb from New York to my lawn, and I can write a song sick of this.
Richard Russell.
Touch my car alarm, breaking my
See, I was here thinking we'd play Radiohead, but I'm much happier that we ended on Missy Elliott and Mount XLR.
Well, we will listen to some Radiohead later. For sure. Did you see Tom York here recently?
I was overseas when it happened. I would have loved to.
Yeah, it sounded amazing.
If I'm to summarize with you here in person, there's a philosophy, there's a philosopher that exists in what you do, and a very human thing in what you do, and how you kind of interact with the people and the sounds and their contribution to music and culture and life. And I feel like there's a lot of wisdom there, but I think a lot of the wisdom comes from being in the room with things and not like necessarily just writing it down on paper.
I mean, it's nice to do this because it's tunes, right?
It's tunes,
and that's what it all comes back to, and that's what we've all got always.
That's why we're here.
It's tunes.
That's
it.
You
know, and it's endless. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Richard Russell, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been great fun. Thank you.
Yeah, so much fun. Thank you.